Hello guys and welcome to the new video. Today we have an interesting video. Basically, a guy named Darren Ribian has commented on a video that I made, the console killer. Can you build a console killer for $500? And let's see his comment. Basically he's saying here the fact that it is the combination of a 1600 and a 2060 Super along with all the other components can be found for under $500 without bottlenecks, so it is possible to beat the performance of the consoles with a lower price. Now, we had a big discussion here, I'm just saying this, and we were talking about can you beat the performance of a PS5 with a PC, stuff like that. And he also mentioned the video, and we are gonna see that video. Okay, so I named this video console fanboy, which is me, reacts to the comparison between PS5 or Xbox, whatever, a console versus a PC and the performance. Okay, I think it will be an interesting video. Thank you for Darren Ribian. I really thank you for commenting. I really learned a lot. I understand your side of thinking, and we are gonna see together this video so we can also comment on the video. And yeah, this is basically the idea. This is the video. It's from Digital Foundry, which has 1 million subscribers. And yeah, I mean, let's start the video, but first I want to comment on the title. It says here Watch Dogs Legion, which is a title that is really really powerful title. This is a title like Assassin's Creed, which you don't see a lot of FPS difference. Okay, let's start the video. We'll talk about it more and comment yeah, on the video. Let's go. No, sorry guys, it's my dog. Hugo, you wanna go outside? Give me a moment guys, sorry. This is Hugo. Alright, Hugo, let's go. Alright, let's start the video. Sorry guys about that. Digital Foundry.
Next Gen is here, and we have our first ray tracing title with Watch Dogs Legion that I will be putting under the microscope. In this ray tracing analysis video, I will be examining the ray tracing on Xbox Series X and Series S to show what it brings to the table over what we see on Xbox One X. I'll also investigate how it stacks up against the PC and test the exact same Xbox Series X settings on PC to show what type of GPU offers that same Xbox Series X experience or better. And I think we'll see some interesting results here through this analysis.
Let's pause for a second. Okay, so this is a comparison, I guess, for ray tracing only, not the raw performance of PC and console, but ray tracing. And I want to comment on this, saying that I saw the performance of the new Xbox on ray tracing, and I would say it's not the best, but it's there. Okay, so with let's say my graphics card, which is a 1070 Ti, I can't really do any ray tracing. So yes, you still need a very high-end graphics card to do that. Okay, let's continue.
Sadly, I don't have a PS5 to test in time for this video, but based upon what I'll describe later in the video, what we're seeing on Series X here is going to apply very similarly to PS5. So, what are we getting here exactly with ray tracing on console in Watch Dogs Legion? As mentioned in my PC review of the game, the ray tracing in Watch Dogs Legion is used for reflections and replaces the standard system of screen space reflections combining with real-time cube maps. The ray traced reflections on Series S and X combine with SSR to increase performance and add detail that ray tracing could be missing. For those reflections out of the ray tracing view and structure, further into the distance, real-time cube map probes are used that follow the character around to add in reflective properties to things that otherwise don't get RT reflections. Coming off Spider-Man on PS5, I see a lot of people wanting to compare these games. And there are some important things to note here. Unlike Spider-Man, there are reflections in Watch Dogs Legion. So the reflection of a puddle on the ground will, for example, show reflective properties when it's reflected in a reflection. Unlike Spider-Man as well, the geometry in reflections looks to be the exact same level of detail and precision as those in the primary view. So objects in reflections do not have more obvious polygon edges than they otherwise would, or things like the edges of windows in buildings show up in RT reflections and are not added in with SSR. Another difference in this game is that water gets RT reflections, albeit with a limited range like the rest of the game's ray traced reflections. This is something I'll talk about later in the video when comparing to PC, but this game definitely has reduced reflection distance in comparison to something like Spider-Man. So there's going to be differences in the RT implementation in different games, but there will be similarities as well. Watch Dogs on Series S and X also uses stochastic reflections like in Spider-Man, so they will technically produce more realistic surface reflections than other types of ray tracing. Like in Spider-Man as well, the ray traced reflections in Watch Dogs Legion are added to transparencies like glass, so glass materials will look very realistic, especially in comparison to those that you could see on Xbox One X where there's no ray tracing used. When you compare side by side, it's easy to see big differences thanks to ray tracing in Watch Dogs Legion. In those views where screen space reflections cannot add much to the image, like this puddle on the ground here in the beginning of the game, we can see how Xbox Series X and S add in perfectly perspective correct reflections, whereas Xbox One X just has a cube map that doesn't really align with that which is actually on screen. In other scenes though, the benefits that ray tracing has on Xbox Series consoles can be smaller due to the angle of the camera view. For example, in this shot down the alley, here the camera is parallel to the ground more or less, so a lot of objects in a larger portion of the reflective surfaces in the shot look similar to SSR. But if you look at those areas on the ground where the reflection would be off screen.
So basically we are comparing this to this. So you can see this has a better reflection and this does not have any light in the reflection. The reflection is more basic. Alright, let's continue.
It's easy to see how much better reflections look on Series X and S, where Xbox One X is just using low resolution cube maps. The ray tracing difference between generations is largest when looking directly at mirror-like surfaces, like this darkened glass facade of a building. Take this shot here in front of the restaurant. On Xbox Series X and S, you can see the bustling street behind the camera, including our own character model. There is a lamp post in view, and we can see all the textures of the sidewalk and street, including reflective puddles on the ground near our character model, which is also reflected. On Xbox One X, the real-time cube map reflections are used instead from this angle, as screen space reflections can see nothing here. Firstly, the resolution is rather low in that cube map reflection, and
I want to comment something here. This is really amazing and everything, but in the end, it does not matter, like the song says, okay? So, I don't know, I like this level of detail, and for gaming in particular, I don't see any real benefit. Instead of, if you want to make it more, you know, the problem is, what I don't like is that this takes a lot of graphic power, okay? To do this, it takes a lot of graphic power, alright? So, in the one hand we have this, and the other we don't have anything behind, moving, stuff like that, okay? But my problem here is that you need a lot of graphic power to get this, alright? So is it worth it for, let's say, for the person who commented, is it worth it to have this experience, paying double the money to have this experience? I don't know, maybe it is. And maybe in games like, let's say, Escape from Tarkov, you played Escape from Tarkov, it won't be, it will be a matter of life and death. If you die in that game, basically you lose everything. So if you had the opportunity to see somebody from a mirror, from a glass, okay, that will be really beneficial, and it will make a lot of great plays. this is how in competitive level, or maybe in you see the reflection of somebody in the lake behind you or somewhere else, and then you understand, okay, that is a person, so I need to move in, do this, do that, and that will have a lot of great plays from the graphics, right? So only with the graphics you can have the upper hand to make a play, stuff like that. Alright, let's continue.
Building in that reflection is just a facsimile simplification of the real buildings in the area. It has a completely different facade and texture set, and it is very simplified. And of course, none of the finer detail is there and no dynamic objects are rendered in the reflection. It's mainly static. But even then, you might be thinking, hey, Xbox One X's cube map here looks not too bad. And you would be right, with the caveat that the cube map reflections in Watch Dogs Legion only look like this in stills. When you move around, the cube map reflection is generating in real time with your camera movement in small bits with great time lag. So on Xbox One X, you can see that cube map reflection shifting and resolving really oddly as the camera moves, unlike ray traced reflections, which are always real time and always perspective correct, on top of all the other advantages they would have. As I see it, ray traced reflections greatly add to this game on next-gen consoles, as London is a city with a lot of metal and glass and reflective materials where the difference of RT reflections shows off well. It also helps quite a bit that London is a very rainy place in this game. So how exactly is this possible, and what compromises are made? When I did my PC review of this game, even with my optimized settings, an RTX 2060 Super was managing just slightly above 30 FPS with ray tracing set to the lowest setting of medium at my optimized settings at 1440p. That's pretty heavy.
Okay, so you said in my comment that 2060 Super can play this game. Okay, so basically we are gonna see the performance of the console from the first here. 2060 Super 2K with ray tracing, 25 FPS. Wow, that's unplayable, to be honest. That's really unplayable. But here you can see that if you optimize it, you get a 67 FPS, which is good. Alright, let's continue.
So what are X and S doing to make this possible? To answer this question, I have a great ace up my sleeve. Thanks to seasoned Watchdog modders who have been tinkering with this game engine since 2014, I know exactly what settings both these machines are running at and their exact differences in comparison to PC settings, as well as those settings for the PS5. Essentially, the PC game ships with configuration files for each console and each graphical preset on PC. And these configuration files go way beyond the granularity exposed in the graphics menu found on PC. And looking at these configuration files and doing the comparison, it's possible to see that compromises on Xbox Series X and S and PS5 are used to make the ray tracing possible. It's also possible to see that Xbox Series X and PS5 run at exactly the same settings. So consoles do a lot behind the scenes to turn off things not found in the PC games menu, like turning off headlight shadows on cars, using quarter resolution global illumination, reduced shadow settings, and they apparently don't use the high resolution texture pack that is found on PC, on top of other settings optimizations too long to list in this video. But there are two big ways RT is made possible on Xbox Series X and S and PS5. The first is dynamic resolution scaling, which is not available on PC. On Xbox Series X, it outputs at 4K, but uses dynamic resolution to scale down to a 0.66 value using the in-game metric, which is just about 1440p. Many quieter scenes in the game on Xbox Series X, the game can read native 4K actually, or slightly below it in other scenes at around 90%. But when you get outside in the nighttime, for example, with a lot of cars and reflective surfaces, or you race through a level really quickly, the game's resolution will drop closer to a 1440p minimum. But resolution scaling and those other optimizations is not enough for RT, actually. So ray tracing must be optimized in particular ways only found on the console versions of this game. The first is resolution. Back on PC at ultra settings at launch, I thought the ray tracing was sub-native, with the vertical resolution being half the output resolution. And in fact, that analysis was very close to the truth. Looking through the configuration files, it's possible to see how the game's ray tracing on all platforms uses a checkerboard rendering to achieve its output resolution. So PC medium to ultra all use checkerboarding technically. On Xbox Series X, the checkerboard rendering is used as well, but the ray tracing resolution is actually at an internal fixed resolution of 1920 by 1080, so below the output of 4K. Basically 1080p checkerboarded RT reflections. When you compare the PC version at ultra settings at 4K, this difference in internal resolution for RT is pretty obvious, where reflections lose a lot of their texture detail and material quality as they are softened. In motion though, the difference is that Series X produces a lot more noise and aliasing and flicker in the reflections than are possible to be seen on PC. Duller reflections are missing on...
Okay, we understand. Okay, they make optimizations. Okay, I understand. They make optimizations. Alright. This was an 11-minute video telling me that they make optimizations for ray tracing. Alright, I want to see the performance. What's the performance? Here. Okay, they make optimizations. It's a very... Guys, oh my god, you sent me a whole video of technical configurations of the files, of the game. They optimize it. So what? What's the performance of the... Oh my god. Where is the FPS? Oh my god, where is the FPS, man? Was it at the beginning? Was it the one I said in the start? Dude, you sent me a video without any FPS. Why I'm making this video? Why did I make this video live? And why did I watch this? I knew that they make optimizations for consoles. But dude, where is the FPS? Okay, they make optimizations, right? Okay, this channel has basically made this video to say that, and that's very good to know. But I mean, most of us already knew that the ray tracing on consoles are optimized with tricks and, you know, so they get more frames. But what is the actual frames? Okay, and do they make a lot of difference? Because we all saw this video and we saw some distortion, some sparkles, some I don't know, the smoke doesn't show in the red smoke, stuff like that, and that's cool and all, but what is the FPS difference? Oh my god, I'm not gonna watch this again.
Gears 5 on Series ray tracing. Consoles may use lessened resolutions, distances, or material settings than those found in the PC versions of games. Secondly, it shows us that the performance scales differently than we might have expected when ray tracing is used. Without ray tracing, Gears 5 on Series X was a bit below an RTX 2080 when we looked at it earlier this year. In this game, with ray tracing, it's more similar to an RTX 2060 Super. So perhaps ray tracing is pound for pound more expensive on consoles. But still, we're looking at an early generation title here, and things may change over time.
Wait a second. What did he just say?
2060 Super. So perhaps ray tracing is pound for pound more expensive on consoles. But still, we're looking at an early generation title here, and things may change over time. And likewise, this is a test that's a bit contrived and academic, as there's absolutely no reason why a user would want to run native 4K with an RTX 2060 Super at these console settings. The same user could just run higher settings with better RT reflections by using DLSS. But in spite of these unrealistic preconditions of this testing, I find it incredibly enlightening, and I really wish developers would expose...
Okay, so basically...
expected when ray tracing is used. Without ray tracing, Gears 5 on Series X was a bit below an RTX 2080. The ray trace reflections on it are actually higher. Just walking around the game world, it's possible to see how the RTX 2060 Super is pretty okay at getting above 30 FPS at
pretty great at getting around 30 FPS. Okay. Alright. 2060 Super for the win, guys. Okay, don't buy a console, buy a 2060 Super. Okay, and also open the configuration file of the game, make all the necessary configurations to play this game, just because you can find a 2060 Super at basically low price. Because here in Europe, my friend, okay, you can't buy a 2060 Super for very cheap. Okay, I'm not going against you or something, I'm just saying the truth here. Okay, so a 2060 Super is still very expensive here in Europe. You can't buy it on Amazon, let's say, for a good price. Let's check. Okay, let's check together. This is the UK Amazon. Let's type here 2060 Super. Alright. Alright. And basically the first choice here is AVGA. Let's not go with AVGA, but let's go with the AVGA just because it's very cheap. Alright, and cheap, I mean £372. The PS5, my friend, and the Xbox are 400 euros. Okay, so basically this card is 400 euros. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I still need, you can find in the US a cheap used 2060, and what are you talking about? I'm not gonna buy this card. Even if I wanted to as a PC gamer, I won't buy this card. This card is trash. Okay, this card is trash, it's expensive, and it's also very old. By the standards of the 3070, by the standards of the new AMD graphics cards, and also it's expensive. You can buy though the 500 XT, 5000 whatever, 5700 XT, okay, for the same price, maybe, close enough, okay, with a lot more performance per dollar. Okay, let's check here the performance. As you can see, this is the XT. Alright, has this performance, and here is your 2060. And where is the Super? Here is the Super. Okay, here is the XT. And you can find it on the US, if you are from the US, my friend, for $316. Okay, this is a better candidate. That's what I was saying in the comment, in your reply, that this is a better candidate for trying to get the same performance on the PC. But my friend, no one is gonna open the configuration file, find all the exact settings, reduce the ray tracing configuration file to the best option to actually get that performance. I know this video is very, it's a big video, okay? I'm sorry about this. I just wanted to make this video. And yeah, I mean, even you won't play at 30 FPS this game. You will disable ray tracing just so you get 60, I don't know, more, 90 if it's possible. It won't be possible in this game. Watch Dogs Legion is a very demanding title. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, okay? I didn't check for that. I'm just saying that it's a demanding title. That's what I know. Maybe you can get 60 FPS easily, I don't know. Alright, maybe you can get 90 easily, I don't know. What I know is more frames as a PC gamer is better for me. I don't want these paddle reflections and stuff like that if I want to play and enjoy the fluid gameplay. Okay, the the smooth gameplay. Alright. I don't want to lose that. That's what I prefer as a PC gamer, and I understand your observation. But as I said before, it's an expensive graphics card. And by the way, there is no stock for PS5, no stock for the new AMD cards, no stock for the new whatever. So what I said in the previous video is that you can't really build a PC for the same money. And I'm correct. Okay, I'm correct. You're gonna buy a used 2060 Super just so you have the same, not better performance that the consoles, which consoles get the games and they find the best optimizations inside the game so you can play it at the best experience. Whatever, man. I mean, I don't know. Okay, enough of that. Alright, so my name is Kostas from Toolol. I make videos for tech, but now I'm really disappointed because you didn't have a good case on me, man. I mean, maybe I lost something, maybe I didn't know something, but I don't know, guys. Comment below, tell me your opinion, okay? But seriously, you can't build a PC for the same money, okay? I don't know. Maybe next year. I hope you are well. My name is Kostas from Toolol. Click the like button. It really helps me. I'm a small YouTuber. I don't have 1 million subs like the other people and making, very detailed videos of ray tracing and the paddles reflect different and stuff like that. I don't know, man. Okay, I guess the ray tracing, I don't like ray tracing now. Okay, it's very cost for the graphics performance, I think, in my opinion. Maybe the new cards, I mean, anything below the 3070, I won't even try open the ray tracing, even if I had, I don't know. Thank you guys for watching. Comment below your opinion. My name is Kostas from Toolol. I love you all. Okay, thank you. How many subs we have now? We have 3.8k subs. Thank you so much. My name is Kostas from Toolol. I said that 30 times. Maybe it sticks in your mind. I love you all, guys. Thank you for watching this video. And see you in the next video.